This is a little disclaimer before we start this video. I do have Tourette's, so please excuse any swearing throughout. And the camera did run out while we're filming, so that might explain some things. Just give you a little sneak peek now of what's coming up.
What's the most ridiculous mistake you've made on the smallholding?
How do you support Jim during harder days, and how do you take care of yourself? Lessons do you hope your children take from this lifestyle? How do you make time for your relationship?
How do you explain hard things to your kids, like dispatching animals?
Welcome or welcome back. Lou has just hit go on the timer. You might have just seen that, but we are doing something a little bit different today. If this is your first time, I highly recommend you going to check some of our other videos out, because it's the summer holiday, and so we have filmed this video ahead of time so that we still can release a video on a Thursday, but it's not quite a vlog, but hopefully as interesting.
Hopefully.
We are, so in front of me I have, a friend of ours has compiled 35 questions, and he said there's a few different type of categories, and there's some fun ones in there. And instead of a hat, we've got something that we use very often here on the small. You cheeky little cat. Very often here on the smallholding.
Yeah, good old stainless steel bowl.
This stainless steel bowl. So without further ado, we have got some rules, okay? And the first rule is we are going to film for an hour. We don't want the video going on and on and on. And the second rule is, I don't know if this is stable enough on my hair. So the second rule is, each question can only be 5 minutes. Excuse me, guys. We're not doing any edits. This is a whole hour. Look, Lou, show them the timer. We haven't got a fancy timer that we can show you constantly, but it is going, and it's going to be. You can look down on the YouTube thing as well, because hopefully the video will be an hour. Right, Jim, stop rambling.
Stop rambling. We'll be rambling for the hour.
What helps you reset when it gets too much? Cannabis. Yay! That's my answer. That's not the same for Lou, but I've got a prescription.
Although, if anyone watched the musings of Jim last week or the week before, it was go and listen to the wind.
It'll be months back.
Oh, it'll be months back, won't it?
We're ahead of time.
Go out and listen to the wind.
Yeah, I mean...
It's going outside.
Going outside, yeah. And I go outside a lot. For both my vape, I like to do it outside. I don't really like vaping in the house. So I vape outside.
You're out in the animals, out with the animals in the morning, aren't you, for a good hour or so?
Yeah, in the afternoon and in the evening. So I get a lot of time outside, but I would say being outside. That's the sensible answer. And the medical cannabis is just an answer in jest. Right, next question. Lou, this one's for you. How do you support Jim during harder days? And how do you take care of yourself?
That's a difficult one.
Wait, let me get the timer.
I suppose harder days, I've kind of come to this on autopilot.
Yes.
It's having your ears always open, really. So if I'm in another room, it's always sort of listening and keeping an eye out in case you hear anything that means something's happened. So I suppose I have to be more aware of, I suppose, what you're doing, where you are, checking on you more. Some days, it depends really, because if it's more of like a day where you're having more seizures, the priorities change, don't they? You have to just kind of, you've got to put down any certain jobs you wanted to do, because you can't do them, can we? Because I need to look after you more, and if the kids are there, I've got to essentially look after you more and the kids. So which again is, it's kind of, whilst we have jobs we want to do, there comes days where things just have to be put on hold sometimes. So you have to just accept that we can't do them for a day or two, and we have to do them when you're feeling better. Yeah. So it's kind of just putting a lot of stuff down and just focusing on, I suppose it's supervising. I'm always supervising you, I suppose, in a way, aren't I? But just more so than usual. Yeah. In case you need me, and just being there or not too far away. The kids are pretty good, aren't they? They'll generally, if something happens and I'm not there or don't know, they'll shout and come get me.
What about the harder days? How do you take care of yourself? That's how you look after me.
I'm not very good
Which
at that,
no.
You.
I don't think you're very good at that.
No, I'm not very good at that really. Which, I mean, going outside helps. I mean, because I like to, we've got so much to do, it gets very overwhelming. So I think if you can, when you can, you do give me time. You're like, right, go outside, do a couple of hours, and then being outside tends to do me good. But then it's also that when you've done a few jobs, you've got that little sense of you've got stuff done, which makes you feel better because it's that sense of accomplishment. But again, it depends. You've got to be feeling okay, haven't you? And we tell the kids, you know, if anything happens,
there's a lot of
next door you can go get if they need help.
In some regards, it's there's a lot of. We're lucky because we have learned to take every day as it comes, and I'm not sure everybody lives like that. Yeah,
No.
You know, but we have learned to live like that, and I think in that regards we're quite lucky.
And we've got next door, so if anything does happen and I'm not around, the kids, especially the elder one, does know. You know, we've got that extra support literally through the corridor. So, which not everybody has, and that was why we moved partly, wasn't it? So we've got that because it enables everybody to do a little bit more overall.
Yeah. You do the honours this time?
Yeah.
Oh, throwing questions at us.
Do you miss anything about town or city life?
No.
No.
I miss some of my friends. I'll be honest. I miss a lot of you that are watching this.
Having friends close by is probably the.
It's the bit. That's the bit I miss. But the city, the rustle, the bustle. I don't really. And you know, I'm saying friends. Of course, we've got friends around here, but it's different. Your childhood friends.
Your childhood friends.
It's we were always quite a close group, and so you know that's probably the bit that I miss about it. We're very far away now. But for town, that's not if you miss your friends though, is it? It's do you miss town or city life?
No.
And so no, I don't.
I don't at all.
I hate going to towns and cities.
In fact, it's when we go there, it just reaffirms I don't like these places. It's like even like as much as like our nearest town, we went in on a bank holiday. We always do it. We seem to just unknowingly go in, and it was the bank holiday, and it was absolutely rammed, wasn't it? And we were just like, why have we come here today? Why have we done this? It's but no, I don't miss it at all.
No, I've just moved my mic up from here to here because I was worried that if the sound's rubbish. Oh, that wasn't this question. That was the one before.
Yeah. No, the short answer to that one, I think, is no.
No, yeah. I think the short, long, and middle answer is no. All right, you doing all right? Give you a stir.
How do you explain hard things to your kids, like dispatching animals?
Oh, blimey.
I think the main thing with kids, and it's easier said than done, is you've got to kind of think of how you're going to explain it and then simplify it to the most basic, simple terms, because otherwise you're just throwing loads of words at them, aren't you? So it's trying to really simplify what you're saying. But
for us, on a personal level, we have been very aware to let our kids know where the food comes from. Yeah. So they've been quite involved in harvesting.
Yeah.
They've been involved in the dispatching. You know, not super involved, but when we've been in here processing the next day, perhaps quartering the chickens, butchering it up.
Doing the breasts and the legs and
they've
stuff.
Seen all that.
To them. We tell them what were the body parts. In fact, I think last time Theo was the one. Now he's a little bit older. It's like all the kind of it's the inside body parts. We were showing him, look, this is what the heart looks like. This is the kidneys and whatnot. But they've also seen when both more going back to our
get your tits out.
Earlier days of having animals, but they've also seen us be quite upset, especially you upset when one of the animals that's more like a pet has to go. You know, they've seen that, you know, it is sad and it is upsetting, but we just try and explain to them, because a lot of the time it's because they're ill and they're suffering, that actually it's the better thing to do, and they do.
So I think my answer, listening to what you're saying, has helped me like ruminate. But I think my answer would be, it would be a little bit further than yours and be simply and honestly. You do it as honest as possible and as simple as possible. But I think it does kids good. I think they get a better grasping of the food cycle and where their food comes from.
But this world is so desensitised to that, and that's why we moved here, because it's like, well, if I want to eat this meat, I should be able to process it and know where it comes, and I want to know where it comes from, so it's had a good life. We're so desensitised to this stuff nowadays. It's good for them to know that, and I think as a parent, you can only be honest.
Yeah,
I think that's the best you could, in all situations, whatever's going on, as long as you're honest, that's the best you can do, really.
No, I agree. Do you ever wish you could pack it in and live in a normal house?
No.
No. Do you ever? There are probably moments, moments where I think, have we made the right call here? I definitely had one of those moments one time when I was out, it was in the winter, and I had a seizure in the chicken area, and it was muddy, chicken poo, it was horrible, and I was like, you know, and in those moments, perhaps yes, perhaps I thought, did we do the right thing here? But for 99.99% of the time, it's a no.
No for me. Oh, excuse me.
What lessons do you hope your children take from this lifestyle?
I think that the lesson that if you want something, you've got to work for it. I.e., if you want to eat like certain fruits and certain vegetables or have meat, you've got to raise it, grow it, and put the effort in, and then you reap the rewards afterwards, which you can't be beat, can you?
No.
When you've grown all the strawberries and you're sitting there with a big bowl of strawberries and you're munching them fresh in the garden, you can't beat that. And if you put the effort into growing them, it kind of shows that, well, you know, you work for what you want.
I hope that again they look at perhaps mine and Lou's determination and tenaciousness, and how we deal with my disabilities and how we carry on coping and how we run the small holding and how we push through. I hope we're setting a good example and that they can learn loads from this lifestyle, especially inherit our work ethic, because I think we both have a good work ethic, don't we?
I think one thing I would really wish and hope that they inherit is that the simple life. You get joy from simple things in life. It's not about the technology, iPad. It's the materialistic stuff. We're in such a materialistic world, especially with technology these days. I really hope that whilst, you know, you're never going to have them not on these things ever, that they're a part of modern life, but it's the balance. And I think I just hope they can find joy. And by living this way, that they can find joy in the simple things in life and realise that it's not even about money, is it? It's not about the money, it's not about materialistic things, it's, the simple, basic things in life.
Definitely. And, I think that's covered it all, to be honest with you. Oh, you got to do the next one. I've pulled out a few questions. Oh, this is a good one. How do you make time for your relationship outside of the small holding chaos? We do, don't we?
We do in ways, I suppose. It stays out with the kids, isn't it? Like if we do, it's like going out to the beach with the kids or something.
I mean, it's hard. Yeah, it's our relationship obviously includes the kids, though, doesn't it? Because
we've never been once to make sure we have like the date night once a month. Like,
no,
we're not that bothered about that, though, really, are we?
No. But to make time for our relationship, you know, we do occasionally go out. We'll have takeaways and sit about and watch a movie from time to time.
There's the odd time when we...
Yeah, but it involves the kids. It does involve the kids.
The only time it didn't is when my youngest first started going to childminders and we had that bit of a day with no kids. And we went into town and we were just like, oh, should we just grab a coffee?
Oh, yeah.
From a really nice coffee shop. But again, it's still like a takeaway coffee, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not like, I mean, we're not ones to be bothered about going out for like a fancy meal once a month or even on... I mean, we forgot our wedding anniversary the other day, didn't we? We just
it was 4 years, we forgot.
Until my mum messaged me being like all bit late.
But I always remember our actual anniversary, the 5th of November, because it's or the 6th of November, because it's the day after fireworks
when we got together.
That was when we got together 18 years ago.
Well, that's what's weird, because it's together 18 years, but they're married for 4, so the married one's not really as... It doesn't really count, does it, I suppose? It does, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
Do you ever regret sharing so much of your life online?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No.
Not yet, no. And again, I think we've...
Excuse me.
I mean, we do share a lot, but...
But I don't regret it because we are honest people. I think we're quite open people. We know a lot about each other. We've been through a lot. We've both made mistakes in our younger life that we would perhaps have shame and regret over, but not this life. We're proud of this, aren't we?
Yeah.
So then we are not at the point where people recognise us or anything like that. Maybe we won't enjoy that, but we are at the point where we can make good content that we will enjoy when we are old.
It'll be nice
and
to
we
look
will
back
look
on.
back on it. Or our great grandkids will find this video on YouTube and be like, "That was my grandparents." Hi guys, stay out of trouble. Right!
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yes.
What's the most ridiculous mistake you've made on the smallholding?
Ridiculous.
I mean,
Potentially the pigs putting
I was
the
going to
fencing
say
in
the one that
upside down.
jumps out to me is putting the fencing up today because it seems like such a silly mistake. But
Yeah, that's the most ridiculous.
yeah, I think that's probably it, isn't it? Yeah, where the stock fencing has the smaller gaps at the bottom and the bigger at the top, we
Put them on
got it,
upside down.
then
So when the pigs
straight
escaped
away.
on the first day we got them.
Yeah, that's probably that jumped out at me.
Yeah. How long we got left on our time? I feel like we're getting through these questions. We might even get them all done. That'd be good if we do.
Got 44 minutes left.
Oh, I think we'll get all these questions done, guys, within the
Yeah.
time, which will be good. But yeah, this one. What's something people never see behind the scenes? Well, what jumps out at you? For me, it's arguments.
Yeah, I suppose arguments. I was going to say, I suppose your sieges, but then you have shown a few of those. Well, not your sieges, I suppose. You've knocked yourself out, haven't you, with the garlic and stuff.
We've shown a bit.
We have shown a bit of that now, so it's not really.
Yeah, but that was something that we weren't really too bothered about showing. But
So yeah, it's probably arguments, isn't it?
yeah, it's like we're normal people. We argue, of course, we argue, and especially when
When things are difficult.
When things get difficult. For example, last night I had a surprise chicken. The chicken. I mean, a surprise chicken. One of my chickens hatched an egg, and
Surprise chick.
Yeah, surprise chick. I saw this chicken lying down in the orchard, and I was like, "What are you doing there? You're going to get eaten." So I tried to wrestle her up and get her back into the thing. And when I moved her, a chick ran out. To my surprise, and
Yeah.
but I don't do well with that sudden sort of shock. And
You can't explain things, so then you rang me. And it was just like stuttering the odd word. I couldn't make no sense, so I came out. And then, even though I've come out, I haven't got a clue what's going on, but you can't seem to put the words together to explain to me what's happened, can you? And then I'm just like, what do you need me to do?
Yes. And
so then I don't know how to help you don't know how to explain, and then you're both in this kind of like,
yeah.
you know.
And so I think that's the stuff that like doesn't get shown. And they're not blazing arguments, but they're like more... how my disability has confused things to a point that everybody's frustrated and no one knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Who takes the lead on planning and who's more go with the flow? Well, I laughed when I first saw this, but actually, there's probably quite a good mix. When you actually
It depends
think
what
about
we're doing, doesn't it?
Depends what it is.
If we're on like a day out with the kids, if we're like, right, we want to go somewhere and it's like an hour away, say, and we've got to pack up, I'm like, right, we need to have everything we need for the kids, like spare clothes, like nappies, pack lunch. I'm very planned in that sense. You'll just get up and go and you just buy what you need when we get there, you know.
Yeah.
But then I think with
Say the
smallholding
filming.
and the filming, smallholders of I'm a bit slower, aren't I?
You're a bit more go with the flow, and I'm a bit more takes the lead on the planning.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I think that's fair. Depends what we're doing,
yeah.
But
smallholding wise, I think you push things to kind of get going and keep moving, don't you? As I just plod along.
Yeah.
It'll get done eventually.
What's the hardest part of smallholding that no one warns you about?
I don't know, would you say
I don't think many people warned us about anything. We watched a lot of American homesteaders, so I think we went into it fairly blind. But I think the hardest part has been the regulations. Because everything else is simple. You know, digging a potato, livestock, while there comes with challenges. If you've got animals, of course you're going to get problems with animals. Cause
yeah, it's when stuff needs, I suppose, when like with the pigs and you had to re-fence it till like 10 o'clock at night. It's like stuff, when certain things happen, they have to be dealt with right there. There's nothing, everything has to stop and you have to deal with things right there.
Emergencies.
Whatever the time, yeah, it's more like emergency, so to speak.
Yeah,
so whatever
okay,
time
I would
of day
agree
it
with
is,
that.
whatever you do, it's kind of like, right, someone's got to look after the kids, someone's got to be out there, and it will take as long as it takes, no matter what the weather is. If it's pouring down with rain, it has to be done. I mean, we had problems when it was raining, wouldn't we? And you were out there digging trenches in the absolute torrential rain,
trying to like stop the flow
of water going over, like where we'd had stuff done, you know, and kind of divert the water flow. But it's
so it's the emergencies, or it's like, you know, if you go out and you find a lame cockerel, or you know, actually.
Well, when the last
No.
These
we're filming this. These people, anyone watching this, you can't say last vlog. But if you're interested, we have covered a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
We have shown a lot of this stuff in our vlogs, and there is a playlist, Life on the Smallholding Vlogs. Feel free to go check that out. So that's it, you know.
I think so.
The unexpected nature.
Yeah. If your smallholding was a movie, what would it be called? Oh, I'm crap at names like this.
If the smallholding was a my time to shine, this, isn't it? If the smallholding was a movie, what would it be called? The Fall and Rise of the Finch Family. Leave me hanging. Boom.
The fall and rise? You mean the rise and fall?
No, because we've fell and then we've risen.
Good. I'm not the ideas one. This one is.
Yeah. We're going to get through all the questions.
Might do. What's been the biggest parenting challenge out there?
Out where? Out there?
Out here.
Out here.
They're just, I mean, as much as we love the kids, they're just a hindrance, aren't they? There's so much to do.
If you need to do a job and it would take you an hour, if you take the kids to help, it's going to take you all day.
If not longer.
And if not longer. So I think that's probably.
They just slow you down. But then it's that thing. It's that, what's the word? Because you, on the one hand, you want them there, and because whilst it may be difficult when they're young, it pays off when they're older, because they all of a sudden hit a point where they're actually quite helpful and they enjoy it, and they then start and get the enjoyment that you get out of doing these things. But it's going through that really, like when they're toddlers, isn't it? And like. Yeah. And they just like, I've had enough, and they just
wander off. Yeah, I would actually say the hardest parenting challenge while we're doing smallholding is the kids getting bored and wandering off, as opposed to taking them with us. It's because then it can become dangerous. Because
they're too young to be off on their own, at the moment. So you do have to, and you just got to have eyes everywhere all the time. You're trying to do a job, but you're constantly got to be checking everything all the time, which in itself slows you down. So it's a hard part, but hopefully it's a part that if you do try and stick with it in the long term, it will pay off.
Yeah, definitely. What's one tool or bit of kit you couldn't live without?
Oh, that's a hard one.
Well, I'm going to say one that I'm living without right now, and that's an aqua roll. I've hurt my elbow, guys, from carrying the water down to the pigs. We are going to get some water plumbed in eventually, but you know how these things go. Time gets away from you, and I'll definitely say that I'm struggling, and I think that an aqua roll, even though I don't have it, it would be the ideal tool that I couldn't live without at the moment. I am living without, so I'm not sure if that's the point of the thingy, but...
I mean, the only one that jumps up to me is, it's not really a tool, well, it is a tool, but it's not as your hands. You can't really... without your hands, can you? You can't do much without your hands. 'Cause I don't know. It depends what you're doing. There's so many different bits of kit and tools you need for different things, isn't there? I mean, a spade comes in handy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a difficult one, really. You can't pin it on one thing.
No, it's two. There's too many that you need for too many different tasks. Like, you know, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
What?
Has filming changed how you see your day-to-day life?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
It has. It's become a bit of a job. We have to dedicate a bit of time to it, and we also have to try.
It's how you see your day-to-day life, not how it affects your day-to-day life. It's how you see.
So what does that mean? What does that?
Well, in the sense that I would think that it's kind of, you know, when we look back on. So had we not been filming it, would we have thought we've achieved as much as we have? Because when you watch something back and you see it for yourself, how things have developed and changed, you realise it's showing you in front of your own eyes how much we've actually accomplished in, say, the last 2 months. Whereas had we not been filming, we probably would have thought we'd done as much as we have, if you know what I mean.
Okay, yeah, I do know what you mean.
So I think it makes us realise how much we're doing.
Yeah, no, that is true. It makes us I think, yeah, that's perfect. That is a better answer.
And it is nice to look back on, isn't it? Even when we're watching them after you've done them, it is nice to think like, oh, we've done all that.
Yeah, because we have a bit of a ritual, and this isn't a question we've pulled out, but I think I'm going to add it in on the screen now. Are there any rituals you do when you are? Where am I going with this?
Well, it's just like whenever we film, we have a little which is more of a routine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's it. It's like a routine of what we do, and in essence, I do the editing, and then I'll get a first draft. Then Lou will come in, look at the first draft, and be like, right, this could be better, that could be better, you could do this better, and then I make the changes, and then we upload it to YouTube. Then we sit down and then we rewatch it, make sure it's just perfect. When this comes out, we rewatch it on the big telly and we enjoy it. So we're really making content for ourselves, guys, and we're pleased that you guys are enjoying it as well. But I think it's been important for us that we make something that we'd enjoy to watch.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Yeah.
And yeah, the thumbnail's a process. The music's a process. We have developed all these little rituals, I suppose, in regards to it, and it's we're enjoying it, aren't we?
Yeah, you could things the music, especially. You could sit there going through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of songs, and you have to kind of be a bit more cutthroat. You have to think, does it sound okay? Yes, okay. Let's just use that one and cut it there, because otherwise you would sit there.
We did at the first and at the start. We really did, didn't we?
Perfect music, and you sort of think, well, for you guys watching it, you're not going to notice that much difference in the music to what we would. And sometimes I've said that to you, like you think, oh, should I do this? And it's like, are they going to notice? You're the only one that's going to notice, aren't you? Because you're the one who's
I've done. I mean, I don't know if some of you have appreciated it, but like I try to, do stuff in editing that Lou's like, I didn't even notice that yet. Like make a cock-a-doodle-doo, match up with the music, for example. I've done it, and Lou's just like, what?
What am I looking for?
How do you balance raising kids with managing the small holding? I mean the same as I think that question, if I'm going to be honest, it's the same as any other job. How do you manage raising kids with being a banker? How do you manage?
They've got to come with you. Unless you've got. I mean, again, we're lucky that we do have. My auntie who lives next door. A couple of days for half the day, she can have the littlest one. It's easier once Lydia was at full-time school. Obviously, that freed us up a lot more. But before Lydia went to school, it was difficult, wasn't it? Because she is the sort of person that she just, once she's bored, that's it, she's off. She wants to go in, she wants to do what she wants to do. There's no coaxing her or convincing her otherwise. So I suppose it's remembering it's not going to be like that forever, because there will come a point where... Yeah,
but it's like, how do you balance raising the kids with managing a small holding? And I guess that's the same as you would any other job.
Yeah.
Because these problems, or these things that Lydia does, she'd still do if you were a cleaner full time.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, if they're with you, you've got to get stuff done. They just have to come with you, and you've just got to try and manage it as best you can. And if you can't, and it's really difficult, you've just got to again accept that I'm going to have to do this another day. It can't be done now, because otherwise it stresses you out too much. And then you've kind of got to balance. Well, is it worth the stress, or shall I just put everything down and put it on hold, and then, you know? But then we do try. I think, again, it's trying to give them a little bit of one-on-one time, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
It's also sort of thinking, right, well, whilst I've
Well,
done
we've
a lot,
got
we've
3
to
kids,
give
so
them
you've got to split out your time, don't you?
One-on-one, yeah. What's one thing you still have no idea how to do, even now? There's probably a lot of things we've just not come across them yet.
Making sausages. They're going to be a first-time experience come later in the year, so...
Yes, we'll be learning how to do that.
I don't know how to do that.
Making
Bacon, yeah. So, yeah, there's loads of stuff. We're learning every day. Every day is a school day here, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd like to learn, which I've learned a bit with the chickens. Obviously, chickens are a bit easier because we're raising the meat. It'd be ultimately more how to butcher your meat properly. I'd like to learn as time goes on, so that as the years go on with the pigs and stuff, we could just have them in big chunks, and then we can actually butcher them up ourselves how we want them, depending on how we use things.
Yeah.
But there's always stuff here. I think that's part of the thing, is you're always constantly learning. There's always something new, and I suppose as we do more things, you're always learning.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Oh, wait, no, that's how it's your turn. What's something about each other that still surprises you? Surprise! I don't know if I could answer for the word surprise. I don't think you do much that surprises me.
No.
I mean...
I suppose it always, for me, it's always how you do just kind of get up and carry on. You're much better at me as when you've had a shit day, you're picking yourself back up. You can just kind of switch and kind of pick yourself back up. I can't do that. It takes me a lot longer to Mine's a bit of a longer process to come round to whereas you just kind of, you can just kind of have a moment, think right, and just forget it's happened and move on. You can move on a lot quicker than I can.
Yeah.
With things. I don't know if that's just a bit of a man and woman thing.
No, and I guess in that same manner, in that same vein, I'm always, it has surprised me to some extent. I've always known you were a caring person, but it has surprised me how much caring you've done for me over the last 7 years. You have took on that role of wife and carer.
Yeah.
And perhaps, the 18-year-old Lou that I fell in love with and met, perhaps that is a bit surprising because...
Yeah.
But you do what you do for people you love, don't you?
Well, you do, and we did have a point, I suppose, when you were in, when things were really bad, is some people wouldn't stay, would they? And you did have to have a conversation with them at one point, and you literally, I remember you saying, I understand if you don't want to stay.
Yeah,
I understand if it's too much and you've got to leave, because some people don't, do they? And not everyone can, but... Yeah.
No. You got regrets, have you? No. What's the best and worst part of putting yourselves online?
I think the best part, I think it's nice being online that you can share this sort of life with people, and hopefully people who were dreaming of that life, it gives them the push to do it because it is worth it.
Yeah.
If you dream of something, it's because you enjoy that sort of...
So your best would be inspiration to others?
Yeah,
That's what you
because
think.
it is a big jump. But then anyone who's taken the leap will tell you it's the best thing they've ever done, but it's having the guts to take that leap, isn't it?
See, the best thing about putting ourselves online for me has been the thought of leaving a legacy. So, I feel like after I'm long gone, the videos and the work, the journey that we've been on is kind of being immortalised. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then the worst part is just... Yeah, loads of people know you.
I don't know, but I could...
It's hard, it's tough, isn't it?
I can imagine, like, not that we'll probably ever get to that point, but, you know, the accounts that get absolutely massive to the point where you get recognised a lot, I don't think we'd probably enjoy that, would we?
No.
If you're out and about on your everyday sort of, like...
But then we're in a bit of a niche that I can't imagine that happening. Yeah,
Well, no, that's what I mean. I don't think it would, but I think it's that... How do you explain it? It's kind of... If...
I think I know the answer for this to you. The worst part is having to keep everywhere you're filming spotlessly clean.
Yeah. I suppose the worst part is you do get a little bit of pressure from filming, but it's not that bad.
Yeah, that and I imagine I feel like that's more of a filming question as opposed to like the online. So it's a tough one, but I'll probably say.
Because sometimes you're just like, I've said sometimes like, I just want to do something without having the camera out. You just want to crack on with
you
something.
Feel that more than me,
that
don't
feeling
you?
of being watched and filmed by the camera is.
You do feel that you sometimes feel like, I just need to go out for an hour without the phone.
Without the bloody camera, yeah.
How long have the video been? We're not keeping track of this timer, guys.
Well, it'll go off when it's done. 25 minutes.
We've got 24 minutes, okay. Jim, how does Tourette's impact your daily life on the smallholding? How doesn't it? Is probably the answer. Yes. I mean, it impacts everything. I don't know how to answer that one without it being just straightforward with... Like every aspect of my life is influenced by my Tourette's here. So perhaps me and Lou had talked about doing this sort of life. We went travelling when we was younger. Some of you will be well aware of. And when we were travelling, you know, we enjoyed that life. And we thought when we would retire, it would be nice to grow your own food, you know, live in a caravan driving about, a more simpler life. And so I perhaps think the vision I had of being a smallholder there, everything, the Tourette's has impacted everything of that vision and everything that any other smallholder would do. My Tourette's impacts because we've had to make a lot of, we've had to find ways to make it work, and
different ways of doing things, but then, you know, certain things just, you know, they become your everyday life. You do it on autopilot, but it is a different way to how other people would do it, isn't it? And then you've kind of, I suppose you have to be more mindful around the animals, don't you? Because obviously you do have that vulnerability of if something happens.
And if I will be, like, I know when I'm worse, like... Yeah. And so I know when I can't do things, and at the start I didn't. And so at the start I would do these things even though when I shouldn't, and it would give us in all sorts of horrible predicaments.
You'd end up in precarious situations,
yeah,
wouldn't you?
Definitely.
So you've got to listen to your body, haven't you? And if you don't feel you can do it, then you've just got to not do it. Otherwise it can be a danger to yourself, can't it?
Oh. You can choose another.
That's all right. If you could start over, what would you do differently?
Oh, so much.
Yeah.
That would be a whole video.
I think if anyone could do that in any aspect of your life, you do something and then if you do it again, you do it better.
Yeah, you learn so much and you learn what doesn't work, and you can hypothesize about how something's going to work till you're blue in the face. But at the end of the day, like, reality and hypothesis are two different things. So the number one thing I would do differently is the orchard. I would probably have a more larger central chicken room, like a barn for the chickens, perhaps. I wouldn't have as many of those fruit cage things set up. I'd perhaps have another polytunnel. Like when we had that infrastructure, we had a bit of money for infrastructure because we sold our 3 houses.
I kind of assumed everybody knew our backstory here, but in editing, I've realised some might not. So I've just paused the video here to add over the top. Look, we were 3 households combining. Me and Lou didn't own 3 houses.
And this house didn't quite equate to the value. So we had some money for infrastructure. So I perhaps would have got another polytunnel straight off the bat with that.
But even the polytunnel, like it gets, because it's bigger, the new one, it gets so hot. I think we would have had those, you know, those openings that run along the bottom that you can open up for airflow.
Yeah.
You know, we've got the 2 windows, but actually I could see, in hindsight now, you can see, we've watched a few YouTube videos, haven't we, where you can see they roll up the whole strip that high along the bottom to let the airflow in. I think I'd definitely have something like that, but it's not, you can't change it now without having to recover the whole thing, which is a cost. So it's, you know, but you find ways around it. I mean, everything you do, you look back and you could have done it better. It's,
definitely.
Yeah.
Would you want your kids to carry on the smallholding one day? Definitely.
I'd love that.
That would be so amazing. But the
It would be
problem is,
lovely.
if you've got 3 kids, unless they all decided to live here multi-family like we do, which there's probably enough room for, but would they want to? You know, and so then it's like, I joke with the kids saying, whoever wants to look after it gets the whole thing.
Gets the house, yeah.
But that is probably only a joke. You know, reality and wishes are different, and who knows what the future holds.
It depends what we've got happening at that time, doesn't it? Because, I mean, it's that thing of, you know, if we had a good business or something, would they want to take it on? And if so, who? What one would want to take it on? But then it's like,
could we grow the YouTube channel big enough that one day one of them would want to take it on? You know what I mean? It's so, I would love
the
that,
idea of it is
but
lovely.
I wouldn't be cross with my kids if they didn't want to.
I think it's highly unlikely. So because there's 3 of them, it's like, if one did it, how do you work it out amongst the others? It's hard, but...
Well, you know, one might be able to buy it off us one. Like, you don't know, do you, what the future holds? But it would, that would be lovely.
It would be lovely, yeah.
What's your advice to other couples living with a disability? Take every day as it comes and find what works for you.
Yeah. And you've just got to keep, if something's not working, you've just got to keep trying new things till you find what does work. Because I think in the earlier days it was so much more difficult because we were trying to navigate how to do things on a day-to-day basis. Because Theo was only a baby, we already had one child, so you already had to try and balance the childcare with disability.
Well, and back then, I went from being a normal fella to having disabilities. And that was a challenging transition, whereas now I'm a fellow with disabilities who's been living for 8 years. So now it's
it's trial and error, isn't it? Even now we come across a new issue.
So if there is a couple living with a disability that wants to do this life and perhaps have just come into disability, don't write it off yet. Like, you can do it, just find your way, find your day.
And don't take on too much at once, you know, you've just got to do things gradually so you know your limits.
Yeah, we've been adding, I think I'm at my limits now, so we are talking about potentially sheep, and I think some of you know that. This was supposed to be the year of the mammals, and we were going to get pigs and sheep. But I don't know what it'll be like with water down there next year, but at the moment I'm at my limit. I've done an injury, I'm doing too much. And now we've got 140 birds here at the moment. And so as the season passes in the next few weeks, we will be doing our first batch of meat birds. We've probably already done them by the time this video goes out, to be fair. And so, well, by the time you're watching this video, you know, I'm going to be in the other end of it. But don't push yourself too far. And we have been, you know, the first year we added poultry. The second year we added bees. The third year we've added pigs. Don't just add one animal at a time.
Yeah.
Like poultry, they're very similar. You know, you've not got much more different looking after a turkey, a goose, and a chicken. Really, there are subtle differences, but generally it's not huge learning curves. Whereas, you know, bees, a big learning curve, pigs, big learning curve, sheep, I imagine a big learning curve. So yeah, take every day as it comes.
Yeah. Did you do the last one? Did I do that?
Oh, you can do this one.
Who's more dramatic when things go wrong?
No question, no, that's me, hands down. Moving on. Yay! You cheeky little bastard! How do you handle disagreements when working together? Some days great, some days terribly. Like, yeah.
It's because I think again because because of your disability, some days, and we've always been a bit like it, is the way we work very differently. And we think very differently.
Yeah.
And the order in which we do things is also very different. So some days, especially if you're not as good and I'm just not maybe feeling, at my best or...
On your period.
Just a
Yay!
It's just those days where whatever each of us says, the other one's just like, what? Why would you do that? What? I don't understand. And then it's just this constant, it's like you're battling in every little thing you say.
Think we do accept now, at the start of our relationship, I think it caused us some problems. But we have, as we've matured and got older, we've realised that our just whole ways of processing information, the way we see the world, the way we think, the way we can picture things is completely different. And this, and so I think... Some days those differences enhance each other, and some days those differences clash.
Yeah.
And that goes back to that earlier one when I said you don't see the arguments, the clashing, and it's not because we're like, we tend to be a bit better when we're filming, but yeah, I think we are very different in that sense. Sometimes we handle it like people would be like, oh my gosh, you guys are like the super couple.
But it's also...
And then other times it'd be like, you guys are going to break up.
But it's also knowing that, like, I suppose because we know each other so well now, it's kind of just
I've seen you, Fanny! Ray!
It's... I'm just thinking you're not editing this video.
No, it's not going to be... See, I normally edit those ticks out.
But,
excuse me.
Yeah, it's just kind of knowing and appreciating that, look, I know she doesn't think like that, or I know that doesn't work with him, so, like, we've just got to kind of either put it down, or just be like, right, you do this, I do that, and kind of...
Yeah, and I'm not good at planned deviation, and Lou is a master procrastinator. So I'll tell you, if that was how is our conflict starting, that would be that, wouldn't it? Like, I need the plan to go.
Need the plan.
Do you ever feel burnt out, and how do you deal with it? Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of us do.
Definitely.
And how do we deal with it? Again, we've kind of covered this, but just go outside. I have a mantra where every day I try to be better than the day before. Some days I fail, some days I win, but every day I do try, and I take 5 minutes to set me intentions of, look, I want to be better today, and I think when I'm burnt out, I almost use the same ethos. Like, I'm burnt out, I need to rest today. And because of that, and because I just take day by day, I think we actually manage the burnout quite well.
I think we're getting better at it. I think you're slowly getting better at listening to yourself. And even like the other day, I sort of said, with your elbow, wasn't it? I was like, you're just going to have to rest, because otherwise you're going to end up not being able to do stuff for longer, because you'll do more damage. And it's kind of like, as much as we're both like, we can't just sit, can we? It's hard to just sit and not do anything, because you're thinking, oh, there's so much I could be doing. It's sometimes
we are on the go from, I get up and go do the birds most mornings, but it's probably 6 o'clock till 10 o'clock at night, we're on the go, doing small holding things, but some days when we're burnt out, we'll get a takeaway, or I'll say to Lou, look, Lou,
we're crap at taking things out the freezer and planning ahead for dinner. It'll come to like 3 o'clock.
If it's not fresh off the garden, we're not very good at it. No. If it's fresh off the garden, we're good at it.
It's the meat side. It comes to 3 o'clock and we're like, we've not taken anything out for dinner.
The camera died, and we'll leave it there. We had a handful of questions left, but I think how long was left?
About 12 minutes.
12 minutes. So it was nearly 45 minutes. If you like this, please let us know in the comments. Leave a like, and we will do, if you liked it, we'll do another one sometime. Perhaps even get questions from yourselves. I thought the questions were very good. So that's us. Fields and Flocks signing out. See you in the next one. Bye.